There comes a moment in every serious journey when you realize something important. There is no going back. Not because life won't allow it, but because you won't accept it. No turning back means you've crossed a mental line. A line where excuses no longer feel comfortable. A line where quitting feels worse than continuing. A line where the old version of you no longer fits. Most people never reach this point. They stay in the middle. They want change, but not discomfort. They want growth, but not sacrifice. They want results, but not responsibility. So, they keep one foot in their old life and one foot in their dreams. And that split destroys progress. Because growth requires commitment, and commitment requires closure, you cannot become someone new while protecting who you used to be. There must be a decision, a real one, not emotional, not temporary, not based on motivation, a standard that says, this is who I am now, this is how I operate, this is what I accept, this is what I no longer tolerate. No turning back doesn't mean life gets easier. It means you get stronger. It means you stop negotiating with weakness. You stop romanticizing comfort. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. You move forward even when it's messy, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's lonely. Because the cost of staying the same is finally heavier than the cost of change. Most people avoid this moment because it feels like loss, and in a way it is. You lose familiar habits. You lose old excuses. You lose the comfort of low expectations. You lose the identity that felt safe. But what you gain is worth far more. You gain clarity. You gain strength. You gain control. And control is freedom. Freedom from your impulses. Freedom from your past patterns. Freedom from the version of you that kept holding you back. No turning back begins with ownership. Ownership of your time. Ownership of your effort. Ownership of your future. No more blaming circumstances. No more pointing at people. No more waiting for permission. You realize something powerful. Your life moves in the direction of your standards. Not your wishes. Not your goals. Your standards. What you tolerate becomes normal. What you accept becomes permanent. And when your standards rise, everything else follows. But rising standards create resistance from the world, from people, from yourself, because growth threatens comfort. People who stay the same don't always support change, not because they hate you, but because your growth reminds them of what they avoided. So they question you, they doubt you, they tell you to relax, to slow down, to stop taking things so seriously. But seriousness is not the problem. Inconsistency is. And when you decide there's no turning back, you stop seeking approval. You stop explaining yourself. You stop defending your discipline. You let results speak. Because discipline doesn't need permission. It needs consistency. And consistency builds identity. You are what you repeatedly do, especially when no one is watching. That's where the real change happens, in private, in your routines, in your habits, in the choices no one applauds. No turning back means your private standards match your public goals. You don't perform discipline. You live it. You don't chase motivation. You rely on structure, because structure removes excuses. You wake up when you said you would. You train when you said you would. You work when you said you would. Not because you feel like it, but because that's who you are now. Identity is more powerful than motivation. Motivation fades, identity stays. When discipline becomes part of who you are, quitting feels unnatural. Not painful unnatural, like betraying yourself, and that self-respect becomes fuel. You start trusting yourself. You start relying on yourself. You start believing in your ability to endure. Because you've proven it. Not through words, through action. The road forward is not smooth. There will be days when progress feels invisible. Days when effort feels heavy. Days when doubt feels loud. But no turning back means you don't interpret difficulty as failure. You interpret it as training. Pressure reveals preparation. When life pushes you, your habits respond. If your habits are weak, pressure breaks you. If your habits are strong, pressure sharpens you. And habits are built in repetition. Not intensity, not emotion, repetition. Small actions, daily discipline, long-term consistency. That's how confidence is built. Not by believing in yourself, but by becoming someone you can believe in. Belief follows proof, and proof comes from showing up when it's inconvenient. That's the real test. Anyone can act disciplined when life is easy. Anyone can stay focused when things are calm. But when stress hits, when energy drops, when motivation disappears, that's when identity takes over. No turning back means your identity is strong enough to carry you through low moments. You don't need hype. You don't need encouragement. You don't need perfect conditions. You have standards, and standards create momentum. Momentum makes effort feel lighter. Momentum makes discipline feel natural. Momentum makes progress inevitable. But momentum only comes from movement, not planning, not thinking, not waiting. Movement. Action beats doubt. Effort beats fear. Consistency beats talent. Talent without discipline is fragile. Discipline without talent is unstoppable. Because discipline compounds, every focused hour adds skill. Every repeated effort adds strength. Every uncomfortable moment adds resilience. Resilience is what separates achievers from dreamers. Dreamers talk. Achievers endure. Dreamers wait. Achievers move. Dreamers want comfort. Achievers accept discomfort. And discomfort is not the enemy. Avoidance is. Avoidance keeps you stuck. Avoidance protects weakness. Avoidance preserves regret. No turning back means you stop avoiding the hard parts. You face them, not emotionally, strategically, with routine, with structure, with standards. Because emotions are unpredictable, standards are stable, and stability creates progress. You don't need to be fearless. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be exceptional. You need to be consistent. Consistency wins. It outlasts doubt. It outperforms talent. It outworks fear. Fear is loud. Consistency is quiet. But consistency always wins in the end. When you commit fully, something changes inside you. The excuses get quieter. The resistance gets weaker. The focus gets sharper. You stop looking for shortcuts. You stop seeking validation. You stop comparing your journey. You become locked into your standards, locked into your routines, locked into your vision. No turning back doesn't mean no mistakes. It means no surrender. You can fail forward. You can adjust. You can learn, but you don't quit. Quitting is not an option anymore because quitting no longer matches who you are. That's the shift from I'm trying to this is who I am. Trying is temporary. Identity is permanent. When effort becomes identity, progress becomes inevitable. And inevitable progress builds confidence. Not loud confidence, not arrogant confidence, quiet confidence, the kind that doesn't need to prove itself, the kind that doesn't seek approval, the kind that stays calm under pressure because you trust your process. Trust comes from repetition. Repetition creates reliability. Reliability builds respect for yourself first. Self-respect is powerful. It makes discipline feel meaningful. It makes effort feel purposeful. It makes sacrifice feel worth it. Because you're not just chasing goals anymore. You're protecting who you've become. No turning back means you're no longer experimenting. You're committed. You're building something, a mindset, a standard, a future, and building takes time. Time tests patience. Patience tests commitment. Commitment tests identity, but every test strengthens you. Every challenge refines you. Every obstacle sharpens you. You are not being punished by pressure. You are being prepared by it. Prepared for higher standards. Prepared for bigger goals. Prepared for a stronger version of yourself. And strength is built, not gifted. Built through discomfort. Built through repetition. Built through resilience. There will be moments when it feels lonely, because growth separates you, not from people, but from patterns, from old habits, from old thinking, from old limitations, and that separation is necessary. You cannot evolve while staying the same. Evolution requires distance from your past self, distance from excuses, distance from comfort, distance from low standards, and with that distance comes clarity. You start seeing opportunities others miss. You start handling stress differently. You start responding instead of reacting. That's growth, not dramatic, not flashy, subtle, stable, sustainable. No turning back means you're no longer chasing quick wins. You're building something that lasts, a strong foundation, a disciplined mindset, a resilient identity. Foundations are invisible, but they support everything. Weak foundations collapse under pressure. Strong foundations carry weight. You are building a strong one, brick by brick, habit by habit, decision by decision. Some days will feel powerful. Some days will feel slow, but slow progress is still progress. And progress beats regret. Regret waits at the end of avoided effort. Pride waits at the end of disciplined action. You choose which one you meet. No turning back is not a promise to be perfect. It's a commitment to be consistent, to show up, to stay focused, to keep moving forward, even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when no one notices. Because one day, people will notice. Not your effort, your results. And those results will speak louder than any explanation ever could. They will reflect your standards, your discipline, your resilience. They will tell your story without words, a story of commitment, a story of growth, a story of no turning back. And when you look in the mirror, you won't see who you used to be. You'll see someone stronger, more focused, more disciplined, someone who chose progress over comfort, standards over excuses, consistency over emotion. Someone who didn't turn back. And that is how real transformation happens. Not in moments of inspiration, but in years of discipline. Not in loud decisions, but in quiet consistency. Not in perfect conditions, but in imperfect action. No turning back, only forward, fire.